do a little bit of Shaar kavanot and Purim, right? Shaar kavanot we're going to deal with today is dafka with the. So we all know that there's three basic mitzvot: mishloach manot, matot levyonim, and mikra megillah. So everybody has a kasha. What's the fourth, right? Seudat Purim. What does it entail? Seudat Purim. What does it entail? So first, I'm going to give you my 5 cents, right? I'm going to say like this. What do the poskim say regarding Seudat Purim? So we have the Rashash, Rabbi Shalom Sharabi. We have the Gra, okay? And Maserav, that's his book on his minhagim. So they were very, very machbet to do Seudat Purim right away. Right after Shachars. Seudat Purim. Now Seudat Purim entails ribui achila and ribui shtia. Now usually these things are very looked down upon. Ribui achila and ribui shtia, we don't like these things. They invite the Satan. Okay? But on Purim, there's an idea of that a person, there's no Satan. Like, you're going into the Satan. Like, you're like his friend. So one rabbi one gave a nice mashal. He said, so what's greater? He said, a guy who gets invited by the king and he has to go to the palace and he sees the king's greatness and he goes in. By the time he goes into his throne room, he's shaking with trepidation. Or what's greater? The king one day decides to put on a mask, put on regular civilian clothing, goes down. He knocks and asks, "Can I come in?" You don't even know he's the king. You sit down, you eat with him, you drink with him, you have fun, and he goes. What's greater? So this Rav said that's the difference between Yom Kippur and Purim. On Yom Kippur, you get invited by the king. Now, you're invited to get ready, you have to feel it. See, there's preparation. 40 days, 80 days, 20 days. There's the Egel, then there's Slicha, then there's Luchot Shniot, till you get Elul, Slichas, till you get up there. By the time you're in Ne'ilah, if a person has a semblance of Neshama Yehudi, he's crying. Right? But Purim is different. Purim, the king comes down to us, like before you know it, it's already gone. We had such a good time. Remember that day, we had such a good time, right? Purim and Yom Kippur, same thing, same mansapach in both of them, the chaf and the pei, right? Mansapach. But at the same time, very different feelings, right? But also at the same time, Yom Kippur is also a very fleeting day. Like, by the time but Yom Kippur, it stays with you. You have Sukkot right after. Like, you take it with you, right? So it's a very different feeling. But, says Rabbeinu Ari in Shaar Kavanot, that a very important part of the whole experience of Purim is the Seudah. The Mishloach Manot, you could do it chik-chak. In the mitzvah, you see one guy, you give him two things, give him a drink, give him a candy. Right? It's good if he eats it, right? If you have shot, it's good if he eats it right then and there, right? You give it to him. Matot levyonim, obviously, you can give some tzedakah right away. But mikra megillah, obviously, we're all makbet to do it. Even women are makbet to do it, even though they're not chayev. Actually, they are chayev because they were in the mitzvah, and they spread out the whole. The Igeret, it's the Vav, it's the Yisod Abba. Okay, very nice. But all these things take maximum hour to an hour and a half. Right? But what's the whole deal with the Seudah? That's the main mitzvah of the day, in my opinion. Even though the Megillah is the reading, right? But the keeping of the Or, to keep the Or down, like if you want to keep the king down with you, then you have to have a Seudah. And a long Seudah.
Can we do two?
It's a good question. I'm gonna quote you one of the Chasidei Bet El, Rabbi Vidal Koinka, one of the Chasidei Bet El. He writes that a person has to do 3 seudot. He has a chiddush.
It's still mamshich the or.
Yeah, to mamshich the or. He's gonna do one at the night.
First
one in the morning, and one like Sudah Shalishis, right, to go to the two badai.
From benching till the next Suda, how are you mamshich the or?
So you bench, you finish, right? You finish, you go to sleep a little bit, you mekayim both, you daven mincha, you wake up, and then you continue the Seudah. You make a new Seudah, and you go to Shushan Purim, and you continue the Ha'ara. That's the Chidush of Rabbi Vidal Koinka. Yeah, one of the great Chasidei Bet El.
And his name is Vidal.
Vidal, yeah. Not it's Spanish, it's Italian. Vidal, it means life. Vida. Vida in Spanish is life. And the Ari says, and we all know, here's that question. He says, you have to get drunk that day. Why? Apparently, because it's a day when the Yesod Abaz Mitgale or Ganuz, and therefore, since Hashem doesn't want the Rishayim to enjoy from Or Ganuz, so since he is Mitgale the Or Ganuz, so there's no Rishayim, technically, because we're all in costume. So you could go into the Klipa, and figuratively speaking, there's Nitzot Kedushot down there. They need a continuation of life. Why? When you give them the Ha'ara, then when they come out, they could have instant death to the Klipa afterwards. So the more you surge into them, the Klipa grows, he thinks he's big, and then the next day, you boom, take him all out, b'tshuva gemara. Okay? Because we have Shekalim is this week, then we're going to have Zachor, many big mitzvot are coming up. Pesach. The question is how you mekayim this mitzvah. Right? So let's read inside Shaar kavanot and see so I just want to make another small introduction. This Shaar kavanot that we're reading right now is the Shaar that everyone learns. The one Rav Shmuel Vital put together. And the Shaar kavanot of Rav Chaim Vital, this section is not in it. It's added at the end of the book. It's added at the end, right? In his edition.
Till here, he didn't change anything.
So in his book,
so still here, he didn't change anything.
Now he changed, exactly. So Rav Shmuel, but that's the thing, we have to trust Rav Shmuel Vital.
Isn't it the son?
It's his son and it's also his dad. Because Rav Shmuel Vital was the Gilgul of his father.
Oh.
Yeah. It was the Gilgul of his father.
It was also him. When you read that, it's also him.
What do you mean him?
Chaim.
His son?
Okay, his dad.
It's his father. And his father was the Nitzot Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes and Rabbi Yehuda Sofer. And Ezra, some sources say Ezra Sofer, but from we know from Shaar Gedulim, he was Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes, right? Who was also a Sofer. Right? So he had the power of, so that means anything that you do, it's like a spiritual DNA that's passed down. It's not
one of the candles I light every day.
There's Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes. Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes is one of the greatest Tana of all the Chamisha Tanaim, right?
He has Pushkas all over the place.
Him, or Rabbi Meir Baal HaNes.
Yeah.
That's good. But, however, excuse me, so the question is, how do you tap into this energy? So, Rav Chaim Vital, in a way, didn't see it necessary to add this inside. Because it's not in his Shaar Tefillah. But it is in the Hosafa. Rav Shmuel Vital did see it important to add. Why? And maybe the answer is because he saw his father Mekayim. Maybe. And Sefer HaChezionot, I never saw any minhagim.
Maybe he didn't write it because there's anyways Bili Kavanah, so why are you telling him to Kavanah?
Maybe, yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it. Anyways, it was Bli Kavanah, so it has to happen just like that. We do know that Rava got drunk in the Gemara and he killed Rav Zera, whatever that means, right? So Rabbi Yishai writes, he was megala with to him so much to the Torah that his neshama left his body. That's what the Rabbi Yishai writes.
He's Tchiyat HaMeitim?
And he did Tchiyat HaMeitim, that's a famous story, right? But we don't see in the Gemara that anytime somebody says over there, Arur Mordechai and Baruch Haman.
Right. The
Right?
Lashon Gemara is Ad Shelo Yada.
Ad Shelo Yada, correct. Right. Ad Shelo Yada.
So you don't give them the da.
So the pshat is that there's no da'at over here. Because since you're in the Yesod Ha'aba, you're above the Chet Etz HaDa'at, which is the Yayin. So many years I was always mitlavet in this kasha. Do you have to drink wine?
It says Yayin.
It says Yayin, right? Maybe Yayin was the drink of choice.
But but Yayin is
Shivim.
Yisod Ima. Exactly.
It's Shiv'im,
Shiv'im.
the 7 Yudin of Ab Sagma, right?
Plus-
Absag.
Absag.
Absag. Ab is 4 Yudin.
And Sag is 3.
Sag is 3, 7.
Also, Gematria of Ekye, certain Ekyes in Absagma, like 3 Shemot of the Absagma Ben and 3 Shemot of the Ekye, or 2 Shemot of the Ekye is also Gematria Yayin.
The Yudin, you mean? Maybe just the Yudin, not the actual Shem. Because once you
Maybe,
get to Shem Ab, you're already 72, right?
Yeah, already more. more.
It's maybe some the Udin or something. The Udin.
Also,
Right, there's different configurations how to get to yayin, but in general,
Also,
the kavanah,
a
the
third
rashash.
of, I remember learning something about 3 havayot being 78, and
Yeah.
a third of the third havaya is
26, 52,
is
78,
about minus 6. It's about 70 also.
minus 8.
It's not
You
8
said-
full. It's 6 something.
You got a 78.
26. A third of 26 is how much?
Third of 26, and
It's
8 point
Less
something.
than-
8 point something. That's the whole.
Mine is-
That's the whole. Yeah, because that's the whole thing. There's never a complete third. That's the whole thing with the mezuzah, the shlish
A
elyon.
third of 26 can be 8.
No, because you have to split it. You can't have 8 point something. It's 8, 9, and 10. Has to be an uneven
7
number.
something. I don't know.
It's never 7. Shaar on has is either 8, 9, or 10. The shlish emtsai. It's the whole idea of brit milah, right? Bishtut kana machzir ona'a. Whatever the case is.
The review.
Yeah, so whatever the case is, there is an idea of yain. That's right, admitted. But if you're gonna go to the pshat of the Gemara, the pshat, it says adalo yadav. Maybe yain doesn't do that for you.
But we're learning Ari right now.
Ari says, yeah, yain was the drink of choice.
But we're learning Ari right now.
That's true.
And we know that
So
Ari
yain
says
is dafka?
connect always by Pesach. Yain is ima ilah.
No,
We're
that's
mamshich the
not-
mochin.
that's not- over the Gemara is semech to that.
Is yain ever mochin the ima?
Yain is considered mokin deima.
And now he's explaining we're mamshich the yain by drinking achila and shtia. We're mamshich the achila being abba and the shtia being yain.
So you want to say it's
The-
dafka yain.
Obvious. I would say that it's obvious.
But
It's
what if
yain.
it doesn't do for you adalo yadav?
So maybe you could start with 1 cup of whiskey, but mamshich the yain has to
So
be.
you're saying at least 1 cup of yain.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see what he says. גם מה שכתוב חז"ל, כי בימי הפורים נותנים לכל מפושט יד. Okay, we're gonna skip that one. Next, ומה שכתוב חז"ל, חייב איניש לבסומי בפוריה. First of all, you have to make a distinction. What's לבסומי mean? Not להשתכר, it says. It says לבסומי. To get happy. אתה מתבשם. Like, בסמי, like, you get a little happy, you start to want to dance, you know? לבסומי. It doesn't say חייב איניש להשתכר בפוריה. לבסומי. עד שלא ידע בין ארור המן לברוך מרדכי. Okay, here's the whole kasha. Until you don't know the difference between Haman and Mordechai. הכוונה הוא, okay, כי לעולם תוך הקלי יש ניצוץ של קדושה המאיר בתוכה. Always inside the kali, there is a certain kedusha inside that keeps it alive, right? הוא מחיה אותה, keeps it alive. ולכן צריך לומר ברוך המן. So here's the kasha, so let's underline that. לכן צריך לומר ברוך המן. So seemingly, what we have here, he has to say Baruch Haman, or else he didn't Mekayim, or else he didn't Mekayim. להמשיך אל הניצוץ ההוא אור.
How is the nitzot getting, the nitzot HaKdusha getting or?
Because
by
you're doing
saying-
it beli da'at.
By saying Baruch Haman. How?
Yeah.
How's he
The
getting
fact
or?
that you're not, the fact that you're beli da'at, and the fact that you don't,
If you would say it with that,
wait a second.
you wouldn't get up?
No, if you're saying it with da'at, so you're metaking da'at the kali.
Why can't you say Baruch Mordechai and give life like that?
Simple, because since you're in the kali, you have to make a connection between them.
So it's like a trick.
It's a trick.
So you're saying Baruch Haman, but your kavanah is Baruch Hanitzot Shel Mechayeh
You meant
Haman.
to say Baruch Mordechai, but since you're below da'at, it came out Baruch Haman. Right? להמשיך אל ניצוץ ההוא, it's very important. לכן צריך לומר בלא כוונה. Okay, another underline, בלא כוונה. אחר שהוא שיכור ויצא מדעתו, it's not בסומי already. It's שיכור ויצא מדעתו. שאם יחס שלום בכוונה, יהיה גם לקהל יחס ושלום. Okay, so this is the two lines that are really
So
problematic.
shikor doesn't mean natural shikor. Shikor means
שיצא מדעתו.
שיצא מדעתו.
מה זה יצא מדעתו? I know יצא מדעתו means you don't know what you're
It
saying.
doesn't say with that. Okay? Means shikor.
Listen, I know people who could get drunk and they could drink good and they're bedat. They could still be chazan.
Especially people over here.
You understand? That's true. But yatsa midato means yatsa midato. He doesn't know what he's saying.
Right.
Okay?
That's what I'm hearing still now. ונראה לעניות דעתי, and I'm not such a fan of this because I don't want to let Messiah's nefesh.
Reb Chaim Vital
Reb
had
Chaim
Mesirut
Vital.
Nefesh.
But he didn't add this in his Shaar
Sure,
Shiur.
Vital.
You understand it?
Rav
Not
Shmuel Vital put it in. Rav Shmuel Vital put it in. Maybe Rav Meir Balanes could connect to that. I don't know. Maybe it's
Reb Chaim Vital can connect to that, but
maybe he saw Dario. Who said Dario who said this?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe David just said it, but not actually did Lishakeh.
Okay, let's look what the next thing says. ונראה לדעתי, כשאנו ממשיכים אור מוח הבינה ברחל, as Rachel has Chabad, right? So first of all, we have to
Lani
ממשיך...
Adati is a hezbed how this works, or it's a new way how to read to
No, I think he's continuing the Drush.
So it's a hezbed how this works.
Yeah, it's a continuation of the Drush. כשאנחנו, because all these are hosafot, they're all in the same hosafa, right? כשאנחנו ממשיכים אור מוח הבינה ברחל, על ידי שתיית היין בריבוי גדול. Okay, so he's going into more detail. על ידי שתיית יין בריבוי גדול, out of proportion, you're ממשיך מוח הבינה, יש הערה גדולה, שיש בה כוח להעיר גם על הניצוץ ההוא אשר בתוך הקהלי.
Not only lights up the nukva, also the nitzot shebetoch.
So by drinking the yain in general, so really there is an idea when you're near Seudat, as the Gemara says, the Chachamim used to have a cup of wine. But not Beribui used to have a cup of wine.
Every Suda.
Nachman writes in Masechet Eruvin that I can't learn if I don't have a cup of wine today. Am I right or wrong?
Just one cup.
Yeah, one cup, yeah. But their cups were strong. It was natural.
So Gemara says
pure
that
wine,
you
okay,
can't
wine.
be paskening
Right.
with a cup of wine. You're saying, what do you mean?
Bidi.
I can't be paskening without a cup.
Exactly. That's a famous Gemara, right? So, but by Bui Gadol, you're out of your dot already, right? So far, it's kind of a contradiction. Now he's saying just the action of drinking is Meir Lakali, right? But he says V'niranu Dati.
So is that another way how to reach?
I think he's
that
giving.
nitzot, or that's a hezbed how this works.
I think he's giving a hezbollah to what his Rebbe said, quote unquote, because he also doesn't want to drink too much.
He's saying just by drinking wine, you don't have to say.
Beribui Gadol, yeah, exactly. You don't have to say. That's what he's saying.
But what is he saying right afterwards? He's explaining that the nukva doesn't have that. Maila has to be the lidat. So he's
Nukva doesn't have a complete dot.
So
She only has the gvurot.
so-
Gvurot. Let's continue. וצריך לכוון באכילה בבית אותיות י"ק דיודים, לכוון שהם של אב. The י"ק of the yud means you have כוונה י' ו' ד' ה' י', right? But that י' ו' ד' ה' י' is the ab, not the sag. Because you have both names like that. You have two names like that. It's the ab. The אכילה is the ab. ובשתייה לבית י"ק של סג, which is the second one. Okay. שואלים כמניין יין.
What do you mean
Yud of Dalet K.
Yud Vav Dal K Yud.
Yud K the
When you're eating a lot,
Which
so
Yud K is the ab?
as you're eating,
Achila.
the first one, the Achila
Oh.
is the first one, right?
Achila's two.
So,
Yud K.
20, 40, 50, 60, 70.
Oh.
So altogether it's Gematria Yain. With the Achila and the Yain.
And that's another reason.
To drink wine.
Maybe we could say that
You don't have to-
It has to be the ayin dafka.
Okay, besides that's at one point, but at another point it's also another reason to say he doesn't actually have to say it.
Yes.
Because when you eat a lot, you also don't get that drunk.
Right.
Or you could learn it that maybe it's two different ways how to reach it. One is being
I think, but I'm
That's how
feeling,
you have to eat a lot.
I'm
and
feeling that
drink
he's
a lot.
talking about
has
He's
it.
talking about the actual Seuda over here.
So why is it issue belidat and that? What's the issue over here?
If you're gonna say Baruch Haman and Arur Mordechai, has to be Blidat.
Well, if you're just drinking,
If you're just
you
drinking
can also be
Gadol,
Mamshich the nitzot.
you don't know.
So that's kind of another way.
Is there another way?
One is by saying,
Yeah.
What about drinking?
one is by actually being shikor that we learned before.
Yeah.
One is by
Once you're sick, you can
Yeah.
probably say it
You
too.
can say it. You're not gonna say it.
You might, but you'll forget about it.
saying could be also that. Doesn't mean.
If you're gonna say
Doesn't
it,
say
but that's
חייב
not there, he
לומר.
says. If you say it, but that's not there.
לכן צריך לומר. It doesn't say חייב לומר.
Tzarich lomar. Is it just Chayav or Tzarich?
צריך.
If
doesn't
you
mean
say
חייב.
it, it has to be Blidat. If you say it, it has to be Blidat.
And if you don't say it,
If you don't say it,
Drinking is
then just by drinking. So
and that's two ways. One is by just being belidat and saying you're automatically mechayed and nitzot. And one is just by drinking, by the actual drinking, you're being Mechayed the mitzvot. Or it's the same thing. Both are just the drinking.
Let's see what he says continuing. כזה, י"ק, alright? ולכן להמשיך אליה מוכין דחוכמה, which is אב, שם אב על יחידה, מוכין דביר על שתייה. וי"ק הנוקבה גוברת, מוח הבינה גובר. Since today, everything is revolving around the Shekhinah, מידת המלכות. Therefore, that's מוח הבינה, because it's the left column, right? מוח הבינה is the left column, and Shekhinah is left. לכן צריך השתייה מרובה מן האכילה, וזהו אכילה. אכל י"ק, שתייה, שת י"ק. רוצה לומר, שימשיכו אליה המוחין, אשר כולם עושות י"ק, okay? So the word אכילה and שתייה itself is רמז עיני the י"ק kavanot. But since we're talking about the Shekhinah, so therefore it's kava small, so the shtiya has to be meruba, has to overcome the idea of the achila.
She's receiving more from the
shtiya than the achila. Because she's bina. Bina, moach bina is the ima. Hanikrein yutke, ki adat shela hi kal. It's only half, right? Her dat is kal.
Nashim dat.
Kala, chamisha havayot, if you take 5, because dat is 10 havayot usually. 5 givurot, half asleep. Excuse me, if you only have half, it's 130. Kal. So that means kala. Where does she get the other 5? When she has a zivug. When the malchut has a zivug, what's
How is kal again?
5 havayot. 26 times 5. ולד בא אלא נהירו דטרין מוכין גיליפין בה כמובן יציל ממקום אחר. That's it, that's the whole douche.
So she only has two mochin.
Trei mochin complete.
So,
complete.
And that's why we're not giving her the dat.
And that's why, since you're doing something that has to do with blidat, since it connects with the nukva, it has to also be blidat. Just as
So
sure.
it's another reason why it has to be blidat.
It's another way. It's another reason. Yeah, you could say that. But
So
I think it's all connected.
This
Though.
whole thing is a separate thing.
It's a separate thing, but I think you're touching on a point here because
Everyone
he does
would disagree
say,
with me.
huh?
Everyone would disagree with me.
Everybody is disagreeing with you. He says, first of all, he says, "Lachen tzarich lomar baruch haman." First,
We're
is,
seeing so many opposites in this
Right.
idea itself.
so the first part, mash katuv chazal, is that the Ari speaking or that he's speaking?
מה שכתוב חז"ל.
But he says,
Oh.
"Lachen tzarich lomar baruch
כל
haman."
לעני ידעתי
Yeah,
is Dari.
is the full Ari,
Yes,
even though it's not written in his Shaar tefillah.
but it says לעני ידעתי.
Then it is afterwards. V'niranu dati beribui gadol.
Again, could be חייב. צריך doesn't mean
לכן
חייב.
צריך לומר ברוך המן.
It doesn't mean צריך, לכן חייב. It doesn't mean חייב לומר, לכן צריך לומר במחשבה, meaning you don't see it, meaning as you don't see a difference. But I like the pshat, that you don't see a difference between the choshech and
the Keter Mofir.
he doesn't say it on this.
Is there on this one? Okay, listen.
It's in the Hasidic books.
Yeah, Hasidism is the same thing. One is looking that way of the mountain, one is looking that way of the mountain. The problem is when both sides think that they're disagreeing. That's the question.
It's בערב ובוקר יום אחד.
They're both echad. Okay, it says over here, shikor yatsa midat. Over here it says ribuye yayin.
So the yayin is dafka yayin.
Okay, besides, let's go with that.
This year?
No, listen, I usually drink yayin, I'll be honest with you. I hate it.
Because like 2 months afterwards, you
Because it
can't
makes me
drink
sleep, I'll be honest with you.
I don't think you should drink drink slowly.
No, whatever I do is usually right after Shacharis, we have a Su'udah. We don't have a Su'udah right away because a woman come to it. And unfortunately, most people, they put all their kavanah in which mitzvah? Out of all the mitzvahs, which one do they like the most?
The drinking?
Nah, that's the guys like that. But what are the most family?
Mishloach
Mishloach manot.
To
And that's the easy, that's like that mitzvah has to be done in 1 second.
Right.
You finish the Megillah right away. Mishloach manot.
Right.
You take a piece of peach iced tea,
That's
you
to
take
build,
a
that's
day,
to build the
yalla.
partsuf of Rachel
Yeah,
to be able.
But in matot le'gonim, you can do chik-chak also.
For the Suudaki, you would make a gap.
Huh?
according to the Ari, can you make a gap? According to the Rashash, you make a gap.
Rashash, no, the Ari doesn't say anything what to do with.
So I'm according to the Rashash, I'm doing a Suda right after Shacharit.
So yeah, right.
So in shul,
Yeah.
should I bench right afterwards, or should I have a mind to go?
I think you guys are good in that sense, no? You guys could continue it.
Most of us do 2 Sudot, one in the morning and one.
Oh, you guys do too, huh?
We do.
Yes, you start. When do you start? You Suda afternoon,
Yeah.
like late. You finish it into the
Oh,
second
yeah.
night.
Yeah.
So some people do only one afternoon, but the people who do in the morning do both in the
Yeah.
morning and at night.
Right, so I personally I do
How
one
you
in the
mamshich from this Suda to this Suda?
Also in this I'm Mamshich and also in this I'm Mamshich.
How are you
from the
mamshich?
gap from this Suda to this Suda?
At that
By
moment when,
drinking wine?
no, at that moment when you stop the Seudah, you stop the Ha'ara.
So how can you start to
So
begin with?
why do you
Again,
bench?
have
Why
to,
not?
because you have,
Why do you have to continue it?
because he's
In the night I'm Mamshich Yisod Abba, I stop, I go to sleep. In the morning I'm Mamshich Yisod Abba
because
again.
we read the Megillah, we
Yeah.
open up Yisod Abba.
It's the same idea.
But if you don't continue drinking and eating, it stops.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. It
So that's
stops.
when it stops. So it can't start again after
Why
reading
not?
Megillah.
No, I
okay.
disagree with that. I
Pashut
disagree.
pshat.
It's not a shot. Why? He doesn't even say you have to start in the beginning, in the morning.
You don't have to start. Oh,
And Kal V'chor, Ben Benosh Kal V'chor, Rov
maybe
HaChasidim,
it's obvious.
they start at the right before Shkia. How are they mamshech from the
But the
morning
real-
till the afternoon?
but the real people start do two Sudas.
I don't know. I think a lot of people. I think from what I know, that Rov HaChatzerim start in the afternoon.
You
don't have a morning
Go to
Suda?
Kollel in Bar Park. Go to the Kollel.
Maybe they have a small
There you go.
Seudah in the morning.
Okay.
They
that's
start.
nice.
They say because of they learn, they go to sleep, and they continue.
They have a Suda in the morning.
So
Small,
Rav Salman,
big drink.
Yeah.
I don't know how many cups.
then they don't. But they have to pray. You have to pray mincha with kavana. You can't say I'm drunk. I can't pray mincha, right?
People daven better when they're drunk.
No, you can't.
they
You're
don't.
allowed to do it when you're drunk.
You're not allowed to daven when you're drunk.
Sure. We're not allowed to?
You're not allowed.
A lot of people. Whoa.
They're allowed to daven. That's a problem.
Again, if you're drunk and you don't have a choice, it's gonna anyways pass mincha. Maybe you should. No.
I think it's a bracha levatala.
A lot of people maybe think that
But
they're
people
not
are
drunk.
like really
They-
bedvekos when they are.
Maybe because it's Purim. Anyways, you're betocha.
They don't think they're drunk. Everything is everything.
I think that a person could do a seudah in the morning, and I think he could go to sleep,
Then daven mincha.
daven mincha, and then he can make another seudah. I think so. I don't
That-
see why that's a
Which one
contradiction.
should we do?
I have a riot.
Is it okay to be
Shabbos?
Ma-
Shabbos, I have a riot. We do pnimius in the Kriyat Torah and Shachris and Musaf. Then we go home after this, that, till you start this.
You don't have to, over here, usually automatically when Zag gets involved over here, it goes
I
straight to
think
Zag.
at the
Zag
moment,
takes it
you do the mitzvah that connects to it, you're mamshech the ha'ara.
over. So we're doing first
You're
the
mekayim
Suda.
the ha'ara.
So first we're doing the Suda right after Shacharit, or first we have to give Matanot Lavianim right after
No,
Shacharit?
right after
Right after Shacharit, and then we do...
Yeah, and if you have the book of the Rashash, which is the Rabbanaz, L'Shem Yichud's over there. He has L'Shem Yichud, if you have Rashash, which you could say, right away you give it to tzedakah, this, that, boom, boom.
So you started the
It's also very important to have a lot of money on you, maybe small change, if somebody asks you.
dollars.
Dollars.
Whoever asks is supposed to
Even
give.
a goy you're supposed to give, which is the
Even a
same
goy?
idea.
You just learned it, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same idea.
Oh,
Same
because
idea.
it's also in the.
Right.
We're also giving to Bahaman.
You're giving to the, so over there, even though it's bidat, but over there you're doing like Baal Korchacha, which is also a kasha. Is it really Baal? Maybe back then it was Baal Korchacha. Today it's not Baal
I learned
Korchacha.
one of the first over there that it's not really, it's like they think that they're gonna gain something. It's not really that they
It's for their death.
So the death, exactly. So this
For
one.
their death.
I have to see.
Okay, so we're gonna end over here. Amen.